But regardless of that, I've been in UK politics for quite a while now, 7 years, believe it or not, which is either the greatest use of my time or the worst. I haven't really decided yet, but 7 years going, and I would say that I have seen quite a lot about this community. And honestly, it could be improved, to say the least. Quite a bit could be improved. The way I'm seeing the community as it stands is that in the last sort of 2 years, by 2 years, I mean since the start of the pandemic, I guess, or roughly in the 2020 period. Again, can't speak English properly sometimes. This community had a bit of like a brief golden period at the start of the pandemic. A lot of old people came back, a lot of veterans. The community had a bit of life sort of punched back into it. And obviously, as we're starting to leave sort of the pandemic era, I say again, no, it's the first time we're leaving it, or the third time, depending on who you ask. Now that we're leaving the pandemic, the community as a whole, and this goes for the entire, I say, Roro Nations community, is, I guess, kind of starting to come to terms with the fact that people do need to actually go and do actual jobs in real life. So there's a bit of a shock because of that. And I feel like it leaves the community at a bit of sort of a tipping edge. Because at the end of the day, this community has been going for longer than I've been here, which is 7 years. So this community's been going for about, I'm going to say 12 years, just in case. I'm going to, maybe even longer than that. Probably longer than I've been alive, who knows. But this community's been going for a long time. And this is kind of one of those moments, I get, for the community as a whole, where it really needs to decide its course. It really needs to start modernizing, and it really needs to start getting a grip of what the situation is. And I feel like the UK, as it stands, doesn't do that. And I will admit, we had a pretty good chance of realizing that, especially under New Labour and the Imperials. But we just didn't. We got caught up in the moment. And as a result, we're kind of left with this tipping edge moment where this community can be revitalized. It can be revived again, as it's quite literally going into a bit of a slow decline. It just is. Right now, Westbridge is becoming nothing more than a glorified police criminal simulator. Parliament's becoming more out of touch with people as the weeks go on. And not to obviously criticise the government, as in the Lib Dem government. Believe it or not, I'm a special advisor, but the concept of the current structure of government, it's unable to do anything. And sadly, a lot of power is concentrated in the hands of group staff who now have to manage such a big community that's happened because of the pandemic. So, the community has a lot of things to sort out right now. And I'd say Green's part of solving it. I mean, why else would I be forming Greens? Like, why else would I? So, you're probably asking the question, well, Dean, that sounds all great and all, causing a bit of fear-mongering about the community, but what are you actually going to bloody do about it? Honestly, I'd say a lot of the issues at its core kind of lie within Parliament. At the end of the day, this community started as a political simulator. At the end of the day, it has a Parliament, it has a government, there's different departments, those departments have needs that need to be satisfied. Parliament, which is a core part of our community, is just slowly not becoming that. At the end of the day, and I'm going to sort of use some comments that Lords have even said, the Parliament isn't even needed at this point. If you removed Parliament from the equation, nothing would fundamentally change. The community would still go on the stagnant decline like it always has been for last year, and nothing much would change. Parliament's just become so, sadly, irrelevant. So, I'd say, getting onto sort of policy points now, what the Greens want to present, and again, this is subject to slight change due to manifestos being a thing and changing policies between terms, etc. That at the core of what Green wants to do, it's revitalise Parliament. It's change Parliament, pretty much solve the issues it's currently experiencing regarding inactivity, MPs basically doing nothing, and overall what I've begun to notice is Commons Lords divide, which has become pretty obvious, especially due to recent governments sort of having a not so great relationship with the Lords and possibly being at a detriment as a result of it. So, Actual policy, number 1, Backbench Business Committee. I know, committees, horrible words, not many people like them, but singular Backbench Business Committee, believe it or not, singular. Essentially what this would be is this committee would be proportional to the amount, well, seats would be allocated proportionally to however many seats, percentage of seats each party has in Parliament. So Lib Dems had 20% of the seats in Parliament, they get 20% of the seats of the Backbench Committee. And essentially they can elect a chairman, and this Backbench Business Committee would have the following sort of powers: reviewing any legislation upon meeting every week, essentially being able to propose 1 debate a week, possibly 2, although debates are becoming more frequent, especially recently, especially from some very nice MPs who I do want to shout out later, because they're doing God's work right now, and just in general, sort of reinvigorating Parliament, because right now, and this is going to sound insulting, not many people care. It's just sad. It's a sad fact. Not many people care about Parliament. I think there's MPs who don't even care about Parliament themselves. We're already seeing one party completely collapse, albeit a party that I've resigned from. But it just shows the dire state Parliament's in. And it's really sad when everything the Lords do say about the Commons is promptly proven to be true. It's really gut-wrenching that the democratically elected chamber is getting completely stomped on by the, obviously, appointed one. Nice one, fellas. But, moving on from Parliament, I suppose, I want to focus more on individual MPs. So, if point 1 is revitalising Parliament as an institution, number 2 would be focusing on MPs, you know, the people who sit in it. At the end of the day, the MPs are Parliament. They're the people who attend it. They're the people who make it what it is. What good will it do if MPs aren't being treated like actual respectable members of the institution? Pies using them as pretty much political props to get their agenda through. Which is why I want to make Green stand out here, and it's through 2 different ways. If Green is elected into Parliament, if MPs of the Green Party are elected in, we want to pursue a 1-a-day policy, which is essentially MPs, every single Green MP asks at least 1 question each MQs and PMQs, so do the math, that's 2 a week. And in addition to that, parliamentary Trellos. Believe it or not, I love Trello. Just look at my Twitter. I have a parliamentary Trello, I update it a lot, and it's proven very beneficial. It's good for having a long-term career. You can just shove all your things on there. It makes you look presentable. It makes you look organised. And it does make you organised. It's the little things that do contribute at the end of the day to parliamentary performance. It is at the end of the day. There's a lot of people who might say these things don't matter, but they do. The little things add up to big change, and that's the emphasis of Green, I suppose. Despite how little we might end up being, I must say, I didn't expect it to grow this much, even within the few days it's sort of been here. But at the end of the day, the little things will contribute to greater change in the long term. And I think that's going to be the emphasis of what Green do. So that's the overarching point. Although, I will say, I have been talking for far too long. I didn't bring water because I'm a bit of an idiot. So I'm going to pass the torch now to probably someone who inspired the formation of Green. Trust me, I'm an avid environmentalist myself. I try altering my lifestyle, even in real life, to be very eco-friendly. But the person who did inspire, I guess, the Green movement as a whole is... You can already see him. It's Thomas I'm so sorry, I cannot say your surname.
Kaluaiku.
Thomas Kaluaiku. Ah! Just...
Fucking hell.
My good friend, Irish Green Man.
Yes, I need
Take
the
it
Irish
away.
brains.
Yeah. Yes. Take it away, my good friend. You can take it away. Go ahead. Stage is yours.
I am. I wasn't pressing push to talk. Fucking hell, I'm done.
Oh, it's fine.
Anyway,
Discord,
good evening,
my friends.
I guess I'll start again. Good evening, all. If you don't know me, I'm Thomas Kanawaku, leader of the Irish Green Party. Don't need to be VC, so this is quite important. So, I'm personally here to ensure solidarity between the Green Parties across the world. Heard there's one in Canada actually, it's coming up soon. You know what that means, Dean?
Oh, global Greens.
Soon, my boy, soon. I personally have full faith in Dean and the Greens to bring the United Kingdom to a bright future. Just make the difference of voting, man. He has experience needed to ensure that the United Kingdom is reaching the future. I did that last bit in one full breath, so.
Are you doing a speedrun challenge now for the Green
100%.
launch? Very nice, honestly. I think that's a world record, considering this is the only Green Party launch. But yeah, thank you for the kind words, though. Again, you inspired the Green movement. I mean, I'm pretty sure you created the first Green Party, I think.
It was BBX Bernstoff, actually.
Oh, okay.
He founded it in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. But yeah, again, I think Green Party is starting to become popular now. I wonder why. Could it be people are dissatisfied with the political establishment?
Here.
I could not say that in one breath. How the hell do you manage it?
No idea.
Blimey. But, oh lord, moving on though. We should probably get to the actual functioning bits of this now, which is posting the actual resources that make the party what it is, such as a party constitution. I remember the good old days when party constitutions used to be mandatory and people used to rage over it. That was quite funny, I must admit. I'm pretty sure the Imperials, when Sid initially created them, he had to. I'm pretty sure his party constitution was just an absolute meme piece. But oh well, thankfully this one isn't. As I'm about to post an announcement as I try to work mobile Discord, that is the party constitution. It's mostly just the framework of the party, and I do want to explain one quick thing about it, and it's probably something that I did take as sort of something that I took along from Co-op, and something that I've wanted to explore, but better, and that's a party executive. Obviously, Co-op had the party board, but the party executive in the Greens is essentially the leadership team plus 2 other members of parliament, assuming, of course, we do achieve that many MPs, which hopefully we do. Green Surge, fellas.
Super majority when?
Yes. Come on, Green Parliament. I mean, the sort of the gay
Green
icon. Yeah. The gay icon for the Commons is green. Come on, we were made for this. But
true.
but and also Ireland is called the Emerald Isle. It's green, you know, like it's just made for it. But moving on. So that's the Constitution essentially. That's the main point of it. I guess the main sort of magnum opus of that party constitution is the party executive. I think it's a good idea. I think it can be done right in parties. You just need to have some pretty dedicated people. You need to have leadership in it. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. And obviously, it wouldn't be a green constitution without one of the objects and aims being to develop and implement ecological and down-to-earth policies. It just wouldn't be a green party if that wasn't on it. Let's just clear that up now. It wouldn't be. You can't change my opinion on that. But in all seriousness, that's the party constitution. Not many people care about those nowadays. They kind of just glanced over and thrown aside. But it's the framework of the party. It's how the party will work. We're going to have a party executive. Can't speak English, again. Happens all the time. And of course, we want to try be one of... And again, this is going to be a very generic buzzword, so please forgive me. We want to be transparent and we want to be representative. Let's just get those 2 words out the way before I start sounding like a typical British politician from 2 years ago. Back when people really liked using the word representative, transparency, and development. Those were just the 3 popular words back then. But moving on. I promise you guys, the boring parts are nearly over. We're just getting that out of the way before we proceeds to the fun part. Final part, before we get to the fun part, is opening of positions. Believe it or not, we need staff. Who knew? Who knew a party needed staff? I don't think Co-op knows that very well because, well, they're losing staff. But in all seriousness, we're going to need staff. And while I've kind of said already that the leadership positions, as I said in LBC, they're still being decided, I'm waiting for sort of the right people to appoint to those positions. And I'm also in discussions with said people. And those positions will, for the most part, remain vacant until obviously I can get confirmation and, bring them into the party, bring them into the grassroots movement, the green movement. But that doesn't mean there's no positions. Dear God, no. There's plenty of positions. Campaigners, GFX artists, parliamentary candidates. I forgot the word parliamentary there. Oh my God. Parliamentary candidates. There's a lot of positions we're going to need to fill. Those are the main three, pretty much. Oh, and also probably someone to do question of the days. That would be really nice. Question of the days are very, very good. Now I'm getting the idea of adding a fun facts channel. You know what? We're going to leave that to the Q&A. Or maybe we should do a question of the day for a fun facts channel. You know what? We're moving on. Positions will be opening once the Google form is sorted. However, if you want to show intent to join the party and join the movement, DMs are open. And as I say on LBC, just send in your lovely questions at D9760. The numbers are after the hashtag. Let journalists ask questions. I'm about to. Please forgive me. That's the bureaucracy part of this launch out the way. The bureaucratic part that not many people care about because, people just want to hear what the party stands for, which thankfully I did at the start. So hopefully you guys heard it. But don't worry. Quick recap. Reforming Parliament and making sure individual MPs are experienced, skilled, and get the development they need to be truly representative. There's the 1 minute summary. But moving on, though, we're here to the fun part. Congratulations if you made it. Sadly, we don't have any complimentary ice cream to reward you for getting this far. We also don't sell meat products here at Green because, the meat industry contributes to a large amount of greenhouse gas emissions. So, we've got to be eco-friendly even in our, complimentaries. But moving on is the question part. So, if you have a question, whether you're media or a lovely supporter of our party or anybody else just interested in passing by, we have the VC No Mic Chat, which is something Parliament Chat has yet to add, and I've always wanted one there because I am sick of people talking in general chat and looking like they are going for a midlife crisis because people look at what they're saying and think, who the hell are you speaking to? But moving on, ask the questions. You can request to speak, obviously, if you'd like to, because, that's how it works. Obviously, media will probably get priority because media are media, They're doing quite a lot. So I will take a quick look at anyone requesting. Oh my God, lag. I will bring on Andre Hodge, who I have forgotten to give the media role to. I am so sorry. But Andre Hodge of Channel 5, also known as Based Channel 5. Let me quickly figure out how to work this. Here we go. I invite you to speak. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Hodge. What is your question?
So my question for you is, thank you very much for having me, Andre Neil from Channel 5. You talk a lot about the state of Parliament in quite a negative light. So what will the Greens be doing to try and improve the current state of Parliament, which you go on about a lot?
Mm-hmm. I would say at the root, at the end of the day, it's to do with the MPs. It's to do with the quality of MPs as well as the institution. And I've broken it up into two parts, focusing on institution and individual. So with institution, what I would like to do is form the Backbench Business Committee, give those backbenchers a voice, because honestly, looking at the last parliamentary session that just went by, the one time a backbench MP actually asked a question, the people just heckled over her. Like, come on. Just pitiful. But moving on, Backbench Business Committee is the... Oh, yep. Go ahead.
You mentioned... you mentioned that, but this term you were fervently opposed to committees. You spoke against
Yes.
them many times during debates. Why has this why has this policy suddenly changed so much in your eyes, especially when you're using a very similar model to what was being proposed by the Lib Dems?
Yes. Fully understand that, and there's two reasons for that. One, I don't really support sort of departmental select committees, that kind of style of committees. Don't worry, I've in the past had to handle committees, New Labour. But number two, following the party whip. I know that sounds really corny, but believe it or not, Co-op is kind of in the mud right now, and the last thing they need is, the last thing Reba needed at that point was me breathing down her neck with a very loud microphone going, "Why don't you change your opinion on committees, Reba?" But no, that's kind of the reason why I opposed that at the time. But to quickly address sort of the backbencher committee thing, I do like the model of it, of having sort of a singular backbench business committee to give backbenchers sort of that foot up, seeing as, well, they're clearly not getting respect now. They're not going to get respect in future unless something's, done. But in addition to backbench business committee, there was two things that I want to do within the party to kind of improve the quality of even Green Party MPs, because I do agree with the sentiment that, the party has to take responsibility for it. The party, at the end of the day, needs to ensure that the quality of their MPs is to a good standard. And sadly, Co-op wasn't doing that. I think Co-op definitely fouled at that, and it was partly a failure on my part that I just tried to do it, I guess, as an individual. But the two things that I want to implement in the Green Party specifically, that would sort of rise the quality of MPs that are coming in, is the one-a-day policy, which is essentially ensuring that each Green MP asks at least one question at each sort of question session. So that'd be 2 a week if you do the math. And as well as that, we want each Green MP to create sort of one of those parliamentary Trellos, sort of similar to what I have, to ensure that people sort of can follow what they're doing. And even if, people don't really get on board with that, as the overarching message is, the little things contribute to bigger change, I think. And that's just the message of the Greens in total. And it's around this point that I completely forgot one of the things I was meant to say earlier as the third point, parliamentary aids. I want each Green MP to have a sort of aid, so to speak, or at least a helper, to essentially help them with what they're doing. Help them, I guess, write questions, get news, essentially just help them in doing their duty. I think it's the small things that help, I suppose. So I hope that answers your question adequately. Andre O'Neill.
If there's time, I do have one follow-up, which is that you mentioned that you want to reform Parliament, but you couldn't speak out prior against your leader on quite an important subject, which you've now incorporated into your manifesto. So, do you see whips as a contributing factor towards the current state of Parliament, which you have admitted is not the best right now? And if so, what will the Greens be doing to try and combat that?
I think the leader's influence on a party can be quite detrimental at times. I'm not obviously going to name names here, but I guess from personal experience, sometimes it can be the fault of a leader to sort of enforce their will upon MPs. You can see it everywhere. And I'm of the view that MPs are not mindless drones. They're independent people at the end of the day. They have their own opinions and need to express them. So I think within the Green Party, specifically, the way I want to combat this is obviously when we get our parliamentary caucus, hopefully, it's going to be a conversation of essentially, how do I say this? What's the word again? I was going to say unanimous whips, but no, the word's not unanimous. That's not how it bloody well works. It's essentially a gathering of all our MPs, for example, in a Discord chat, because that's the technology we use these days to communicate, and essentially going through each piece of legislation quite literally and coming to a consensus on it. It sounds very simple because it is. Parties, I'm pretty sure, don't do something like that. I don't think I've ever personally been in a party where They all get together. They all do. Every single MP, or at least most MPs, they get together. They sit in one Discord chat. They post the link and go, "Well, what's your thoughts on this, lads?" And they all have a discussion about it. I've never been in a party like that, and I think it is because of just this sort of continuous stream of parties that just sort of milk MPs for the votes. I think that's just the sort of culture that's being created by parties, and it's really depressing to me, honestly.
One last thing, if I could, and it'll be pretty short, and it requires a really short answer, right? So, our glorious former Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition, as we all well know, held 0 whips throughout his time as Leader of the Lib Dems for many of the reasons that you have now just listed, right?
Yeah.
Would be of the same principle, and do you commit now to holding 0 whips during your time as Green Leader?
The only circumstances I can see whips being implemented in the Green Party is if there is sort of unanimous support for something, and even then, it would probably
If
only
you've
be
got
a
unanimous
one-line.
support, then why does it require a whip? Because surely a whip would be redundant, since
It'd be a formality, essentially,
All
to,
right.
to signal that the party is all together voting aye on something, essentially. But yeah, again, it would require, I guess, for a whip, it would require everyone to be in support for it. But even if there's dissenting opinions on something, it'd go to a free vote. I do firmly believe in MPs' independence here. I well and truly do. And it sounds extremely hypocritical of me. I know it does. I was co-op party whip. But I really do. And I feel like a lot of the reason this hasn't happened sooner, at least from myself, is because of party constraints. I think sometimes the party can be the most constraining force on a backbencher's ability to act, basically. That's the overarching message there.
All right, well, I won't take up any more of your time. All right. But you need to get interviewed at some point by me, because that'd be great.
That would be amazing, lad.
Yeah.
Yes. Hope that answers everything. I'm going to bring up Joshy, because I think you've been waiting for a very long time there. So I'll invite you to speak. Welcome to the amazing green stage made from from environmentally friendly sources. Yeah, we're totally not making stages out of Amazon products. I think I've invited you to speak. I believe I have. Have I? I hope I have. Technology, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reject modernity, return to monkey, fellas.
It's almost like awkward small talk waiting for Joshy to, accept the wave or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. He's requested it again. There we go. Invite to speak. I believe you can join the stage now, Joshy. I believe, at least. Should technology do me good on one day? So yeah, I believe. I hope it has. I hope. I don't know. I have no idea. I'll move on. I don't know. I'll move on for now, unless you join in the next 2 seconds. I'll invite Riley up. I think I've been bullying Riley a bit.
Oh, there we
Joshy's
go.
here. Ah, there we go. Apologies.
There he is.
Welcome. How you doing, Joshy?
I'm good, thanks.
Lovely. What is your good old question tonight? I was about to say tonight, no, this evening, I mean.
So, when will you announce the party's front bench team, and do you have anybody in mind of who you'd like to be in it?
Two good questions. Number one, it will be announced when sort of the election season begins. Again, I don't want to really set something in stone and then start immediately changing it, rushed at the sort of onset of the election and be like, oh my god, I've appointed the wrong people. I don't want to have that kind of panic right at the start of campaigning. So I'm kind of really holding off in terms of deciding who's going to sit on the front bench as of this moment. I kind of want to let the party develop right now. I don't want it to be a case of like saying to people, hey, if you join Greens, I'll give you a position, you know what I mean? Don't want to go for that kind of thing, or, oh, you've joined the Green Party, would you like a seat? Sorry, you don't get to choose. Don't want it to be a case of that, I guess. So there won't be a front bench team as of yet. The latest will be at the onset of the election campaign, so I believe that's late May, give or take. Again, dates are not my strong suit. although to answer your second question in terms of, I think, what kind of people I have in mind, I believe, I do have people in mind. There are people I have been speaking to, as I've kind of said towards the start of this. There are people I've been sort of looking towards. Again, I just need to kind of have those final chats with them before I sort of start finalising stuff, since this is the first time I've ever done something like this, where I've launched a party on my own accord. I've always sort of joined parties and helped people along, but I guess this is the first time I'm doing something like that. Do you have any other questions at all, or?
No, thank you.
No problemo. I believe that. Let me move you back to the audience. Boop. Oh wait, I didn't even press the button. Wow, it's all automated nowadays. I'm kidding. I'm going to invite. Remember, you can raise. Actually, I'll invite Riley. Riley's been waiting ages. Riley, come onto the stage. I'm so
Get up
sorry
here,
for
Riley.
neglecting you. Riley,
Oh.
my friend.
Hi.
Hello there. Oh, blimey.
Hi.
Hello there. You okay?
You might not understand Raleigh because his speech is not very good. I'm his sister, and he wanted me to ask you this question. Okay?
Oh,
If you're
okay then.
elected the next what is that? Next PM of Roblox UK, how
Yep.
will you help? How will you help with the ongoing COVID-19 crisis? He wants to know.
Well, as a avid environmentalist, believe it or not, I believe in fighting pandemics. Come on, we can't kill off the human race just yet. Come on, the human race matters. But nah, seriously though. On a more serious note, COVID's a real threat, folks. Don't get infected. Take your tests and stuff like that. It's trust me, don't want to get infected. Don't have to self-isolate. It's horrible to self-isolate. I missed so much schoolwork because of it. So don't get infected, please. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, I have one more.
He got one more. We'll see if you
Okay,
can
then.
understand him. Okay,
Mhm.
go ahead.
If you attend is say that but if you that be you that a the on the seas environment.
Will you call
I'm
hold on now. A referendum on what?
Do you the environment?
Will you call a referendum on the UK Parliament?
I don't think I can call a referendum on the UK Parliament. I think it needs to exist, sadly. I know it's really sad we have
How
to.
can I?
Oh,
That's-
One more just
no,
how can I be an
Lord.
MP?
How can you be an MP? You can't.
Well, it's through simple election. You get enough votes, you get selected to be an MP by your
But
party, and you said,
okay, I've been.
Say thank you very
How do I become a candidate? I mean,
I did not understand your question. Sorry.
He asked how can he become a candidate.
Sorry. Repeat that again.
He asked how he could become a candidate.
Well, he just asks, and I just need to consult a few people within the party, and we decide, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. Simple
All right.
process.
Thank you. Say thank you.
thank you. I guess it by COVID-19.
No, you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. I really am going to need some water at the end of this. Anyway, any other questions at all from our lovely audience?
I see Mason the Carrot has a question. He's put in no
has he?
mic chat.
Oh, blimey, I haven't even been reading that. I should probably read that.
SMH.
What is your slogan? That is a good question, and I can actually reveal that. Let me actually find it first. I actually can't find it now. Oh, Lord, where have I written it? Here we go. It's Reach for the Future. As opposed to Buzz Lightyear's Reach for the... No, wait, that's Woody's. I don't know my Toy Story lore. I'm an idiot. I well and truly am an idiot. No, Sorry, I'm just recovering from something real quick. Please do give me like 5 seconds. Oh lord.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, thank you. 5 seconds is up. But no, really, thank you to the questions we've had. Trust me, you can turn on your microphone and stuff like that. Come on. Like, life is about being brave, you know? Life's about being brave. So, yeah. So yeah, thank you to, especially Riley. Takes a lot of courage to ask that, so thank you very much for that. I remember, actually, to go on a bit of a story, I know this is a long tangent, but obviously wait for the... Actually, I should probably check if someone's raised their hand. Yes, Nathless has raised their hand. I'll go on my tangent later. I'll go... Story times for LBC. Should probably remember that. There you go. I think I've invited you to speak, Mr. Nathless. Sir Nathless, even. Welcome,
Hello.
Sir Nathless.
Just a quick question. How many seats do you aim to get within the next election, and do you think you will be any part of a coalition deal with any of the current parties?
Very good question. I would say, personally, I'm a very pessimistic person, gotta be honest. I'm not the kind of person to aspire high. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the kind of person to hype myself up. Believe it or not, I'm not too fond of myself at times, but I would say 5 to 10 seats would probably be something I'd aim for. Genuinely, 5 to 10. And I say this in mind, considering we need to have a... So I'm just reading a chat here. We need to kind of have fresh faces with, I guess, a mix of old. That's kind of always how I've liked doing things, and it's something I've admired, especially about the Lib Dem government, is that they kind of mixed new people with old people. That was quite a nice mix. I want to do something similar for the Greens. So I'd say 5 to 10 is roughly in the ballpark. Maybe if we went for 10, you can have 5 sort of new faces, 5 old-ish faces, and then they can help each other. You can even do pairs, and it's simple things like that that help, I suppose. And in regards to the second question, which I believe was... I've completely forgotten it now. What was the second question? Damn it. I've forgotten the second question. How have I forgotten this? Just type it in the chat if you can, Nathless. I'm so sorry. My mind's gone completely blank. Why isn't your slogan Build Back Better? Because the Alliance Party's already taken it. Coalition! Okay, yeah, I've got an answer for that. I'll tell you the same thing I've said to, I think, Stephen Binney when I was talking to them a while back, just in general. I kind of said the Green Party's always open. As in, we're always open to all sorts of agreements. I think that's inevitable. We've been in positions before where even New Labour got into a position where it was able to crown sort of the winning party, you know? They got 10 seats, they got one more in Reform at the time. You know, they became the kingmakers, sort of. So, who knows, really? If the Greens are ever in a position to coalition, I'm open to any agreement. My only terms, personally, would be that the coalition, the positions are allocated proportionally. Essentially, if in the coalition, 100%, for example, if the Lib Dems had 60% of the vote and the Greens had 40, we would want 40% of the cabinet, basically. That's how I would want it to work. And obviously, in addition to that, we would want some of our policies, such as a backbench business committee, specifically on, you know, any King's Speech proposed. So, long story short, really depends, personally. It really, really, really depends. It just depends on who we're negotiating with, and it depends on who we... It really depends on who gets the most seats, who's more capable to form government, and who gives us the best deal. At the end of the day, though, national interest above party interest. I think that's the best way I can phrase that without coming off like a massive, massive madman. Anyway, any more questions at all from anybody? Any more questions at all? I'm here for the next 10 minutes, maybe. Don't worry, it's not like I need to drink. I can first emphasize. But
Awkward silence.
I just noticed somebody has said that I haven't sworn all stream. in another chat I'm in, and I must say that is a miracle. I don't think I have. I think, yeah. How have I managed that? How
No
have I
idea.
managed that? I have sworn every single LBC show, as far as I'm aware, and I've also sworn in every other VC I've been in. So this is the first time. Hooray! We did it. We did it. Sorry, I should probably get hold of myself. Right, I think that's going to be all the questions, I believe, unless there's one that comes in last minute. I hope, at least. But no, literally. I think that's all the questions. So I might as well go to the thank you part, where I actually do thank people for making this what it is. Specifically, I'd like to thank our special speaker, Thomas, who I don't know. Is this like the first time you VC'd, by the way? Is this like the first time or
Yeah,
at all?
finding repair balls, so.
Really? Oh, blimey. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Trust me, it's hard the first time. I remember the
Also,
first time
Seamus
I VC'd.
O'Callaghan is fat.
But nah, it's yeah.
I'm
The
not
first
wrong.
time I ever VC'd was years ago on a development server I was on. That was quite an experience. I'd also like to thank people like Nathless who asked questions today, Andre O'Neill as well, mad lad, and Riley as well, mad lad you are. But yes, I think that's all we've got for today. But don't leave just yet, because I haven't done the outro yet. You know, my special outro that I say every time that people really hate. Yeah, that one. But no, seriously, thank you all for coming. It's great to do these kind of small things. Considering I do VCs a lot, I think every sort of view, I suppose, or every attendee warms my heart a little bit. So, yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for sort of witnessing the official launch of this party as a whole. The form for applying for a candidacy will be posted as soon as I figure out how it works. But for the most part, that's how the cookie crumbles. That's the main event. And without any further ado, I wish you all a good evening, and I bid you all